freezing pensioners, cancelling cricket and cyber soldiers. Welcome to Mark and Pete, two blokes with half an opinion. Now, here's our first thought for today.
Creature discomforts. Winter nights are filled with chilling fog, without the creature comforts of a Yuletide log. So try leaping over the cat and dog. You'll warm up quicker going the whole hog. Well, maybe you don't have to do that now, pensioners, because it seems that Rachel Reeves has changed her mind. Yes, a big U-turn. Well, is this really going to happen? Well, the Labour Party are planning to reinstate the winter fuel payments. This would allow people to receive a sum of money at winter to help them through the cold nights. Mr. Pete, I ask you, is this a good idea? And should it be a blanket policy or maybe something else?
Yes, well, maybe, Mr. Mark, maybe blankets will be the policy.
Exactly.
If we don't get through these winter payments. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and maybe I should try.
Oh, well, there you go.
Applying for it. I'm not sure. I'm getting old, getting on a bit. But I tell you, the problem with this, there's a problem, of course, with, not being sure about what's going to happen. Say someone were budgeting for the winter later in the year. They've got their annual budget. They don't know what to budget, do they?
Correct.
Because they don't know whether they're getting this winter payment. Not everyone budgets, but if you were to do that, this would really put stymie it, wouldn't it? And now that's an issue, but a bigger issue is sort of, I suppose, the other side of the coin, in that if you're going to suddenly say out of the blue, oh no, we've decided because we're getting unpopular, according to all the polls, we need to do this. I'm surmising that that's the reason for this sudden change. Wouldn't it mean if you just suddenly say we're going to give the winter fuel payments, you will be receiving them, that people who are actually pretty well off are going to be receiving a winter fuel payment that they frankly don't need?
Well, yeah.
So that's wasted money. I mean, I think this is, as it is with that blanket statement. I haven't seen, I don't think we have the details yet. So I don't know if we're getting any, but if it's just a blanket handout like that, this is money that we can't afford to pay out, surely.
Well, I think that's the point. The context is clear. At the time, in 2024, the Labour Party withdrew the winter fuel payment. It said that they felt that the nation couldn't afford it. Now, the payment, worth up to £300, is there to help with energy bills during the coldest months. Now, that was fine. However, as the nation has got itself further into debt, well, there's some issues here, because it meant that 10 million fewer pensioners received the money in 2024. Now, if we were to reinstate this, maybe there should be the idea of a means testing. How practical is that to be able to do it? Well, you could argue that most people probably might be able to be caught during their tax returns or other means of being able to sort of track people. Now, the thing here is that there is another factor to this, because a lot of people might fix their fuel or energy bills, but not everybody will. They'll have variable costs. So the point here is, will even £300 really help? Yes, every penny, every pound will help, but it may not necessarily cover all pensioners' fuel bills. So I think that there's got to be some balance here in terms of, can the country afford it? Who should really receive it? And then the other side to it is the variable cost of the different providers who are, charging for gas, electricity, etc. Now, to me, I think that as an idea to help people, certainly pensioners who are really on the breadline, they should be getting something. But I think the clue in this is, are we really in a position now where we can afford it? And I think that it's just one of those other things, because there are topics that we're going to talk about later where there's a lot more spending going on. So I'm wondering whether we've really passed that sell-by date. Maybe we just simply can't afford it. What do you say, Pete?
I say that we can't afford it. I mean, I think that there were details of the plan, not of the payout, but of how they're going to afford it, which seems in itself to be let's say, not reading the room. They want to claw back payments from people who are wealthier, and it's just it seems like a mess to me. So you're going to have to take money away from people. Just have a properly worked out plan. I think that you do need to. Let me just make this clear. I do think that it is a good idea to help the poorest in your society. Now, we often have Bible verses here on the show, just to give an input, a spiritual input. And Isaiah 58 verse 7 says, "If you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness." Now, that's from Isaiah. That's a prophet talking to the people of Israel, a nation. So it's talking corporately like that. And I think that is right. Let's think of it this way. If you're not going to look after the poorest, who are you as a nation?
Yes.
So that's fair enough. What we've been arguing really is, yeah, but you're spending it on people who aren't the poorest as well. That's the point we're making.
Yes.
I'm a bit confused by it, because there was talk of that clawing back thing that I mentioned, but it seems to be that she's going to reinstate it, winter fuel payments up to £300 this autumn. So
Yep.
I'm not. I think more details, the worked out details, the sort of talk of ways that it's not for everyone. But I don't see that the details are out yet. In fact, they say specifically the details won't be out till the autumn budget.
Well, yes, exactly. But Rachel Reeves has said the economy is now in a better shape. I'm not so sure about that.
Really?
And she had listened to concerns of people about the level of the means test in a speech that she gave recently, where announcing billions of pounds of investment in transport and infrastructure. Well, that's even more money that seems to be going somewhere. Now, according to the Liberal Democrats, always good to balance out the equation here, said that pensioners deserve an apology from the government. This whole debacle has caused needless misery for millions of pensioners. Yes, but not all of the pensioners, and I think that's the point, isn't it? Some of the pensioners got through the winter with ease because they're wealthy enough, but I think it is about means testing in some method. Let's see what the detail is. Well, we move on to another subject, which certainly leaves us completely stumped. Cricket is a silly game that leaves most folks stumped, where bails are bowled and balls are thumped. But after days where dullness has finally flumped, the last dismissal is when heads have slumped. Yes, I think you gauge what the Mark and Pete view is on cricket.
Yes, I agree with the sentiment. Yeah.
However, interestingly, a well-known song from the 1970s, Dreadlock Holiday, which really sort of evangelizes, I don't like cricket, I love it. Well, yes, the rock musician Graham Gouldman, who famously wrote that song along with his colleagues, basically admitted that he'd never actually been to a cricket match until recently, where he went to his first one. Now, of course, diplomatically, he was asked, what did he think about this? And he said, well, of course, I don't like cricket. I absolutely love it. Do you really, Graham? I think that we're going to come on to the real topic here, which is cricket really for the modern era? I'm going to say that I think it's time that we just called up William Gilbert Grace, yes, W. Grace, and say that was the era in the Victorian era, and I think it hasn't really moved on much from there.
No, I haven't watched it since.
So, Mr. Pete, I know that obviously you loved watching him in 1848 to 1915. Yes. That was his tenure in the world. But what say you about cricket? Just sort of bowl of googly.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, cricket is just as if our American listeners who won't know anything about cricket, not because it isn't not because it isn't an entertainment game, just that Americans don't know anything about anything abroad, do they? Just joking, folks. Just joking. But that's just a type of bowling, or a type of throw, you might say, the cricket ball, a googly, but and not at all rude. The issue with cricket is interesting. I mean, when that song was released, the idea was that people over in the West Indies, right?
Yes.
That's where he's supposedly walking along.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's on a dreadlock holiday.
Trucking
that's why,
along as he's trying to sort of find his way. Yes.
Yes. And people in the West Indies, if you want to keep in with them, say, "Oh, I love cricket," and you won't get beaten up or robbed or something. I think that's the idea behind it. But the thing is, the people in the West Indies, that may be the case that they love it. But when he went to watch them, when our hero, the author and originator of that lyric, he saw England beat the West Indies 3-0. So
rarity.
I can understand that he loved it. Yes, I can say. So he said, "Great atmosphere, great people. I just had a wonderful time." He said, which doesn't scan as well as the original lyrics,
No.
but I understand it. Yeah, but the thing is, cricket. For a long time seen as the national sport of England, is in fact, is it the most boring sport to watch on television? I think possibly show jumping or maybe golf or bowls, more boring, possibly.
Or darts.
But cricket lasts longer because it goes on for days.
Oh,
so,
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
So if you're talking about Test cricket, that really is so tedious. But I guess it's interesting because it's part of a whole culture. Within that culture, it's fascinating. You see, I mean, if you take any sport, like you say, take soccer or football, it's interesting to people who like it, not just in the hour and a half when it's actually being played, or not, depending on the team. But it's during the week you're talking about. How the players doing? Are we near the transfer window? Can we get rid of that one? And the referee needs to have something done to his eyesight and all that. So there's conversations going on. So it's an all week activity. So you could say that it lasts for 3 days. But if you're really into the sport, it's all all encompassing anyway. So that's not it. It's the fact that it's very slow to play. When you actually watch a cricket match, someone wanders up, bowls a ball, he gets hit, and then you have a long wait till they do it again. It's not. It's the pace.
It's not
of
free
the game
flowing
that makes it.
No.
It's not a free flowing game.
Yeah.
It's a different sort of game. It's a bit like having field athletics, which people can watch. It would be very difficult to watch because you have someone, for example, go up and throw a javelin. Then they go and sit down and you wait for the next one. It's very bitty like that. And you often have some other sport going on in between in that case. It's a bit like a cross between that and something like, what's the faster flowing? Well, baseball is very similar to cricket, isn't it? But a lot faster.
Well, I must admit, as you've rattled through many different sports, alienating an entire audience.
Yes.
I will say that from my side,
but I'm a big fan of all those sports. From
my side, just to set the context here and add another element of seriousness to it, is that the thing that I find disappointing about cricket today is the fact that most of the cricketers don't have the big beard that G. Grace had, and
most of them.
And I'd also say that should be for the men as well.
Now, yes, but I mean the thing about cricket that people do like, just not just the ardent fans, I like the big event cricket.
Yes.
So the matches between England and Australia for the contest for the wickets of the burnt stumps. From many years ago, that is like a big event. So
it is
you may not like horse racing.
Yeah.
But in Britain, you may well watch the Grand National. It's that sort of thing. So cricket, I think, does, I reluctantly say, have its place in English culture, and it is something. I mean, the fact that it's boring, I quite like. I have to say, the fact that it's such a boring thing, and yet it's nicely ironic that it's so boring, and yet people love it.
Correct.
So I wouldn't like to see it go. But if I went to see a match, and no, I'd have to say this: if I went to see a match and England beat the West Indies 3-0, I might come out saying I love it
Yes.
because, because of partisan loyalty. So,
Yeah.
yeah, cricket is very boring, but it has its place in British culture. I mean, boredom has its place in British culture, doesn't it?
Well, I think if I was to go, I might need to take a pillow. Well, that's that over, and let's move on to a different subject here: keyboard commands. Modern warfare is conducted with a keyboard command, where the fastest fingers are the new military elite, yet the future of humanity is subject to acts unplanned when someone hits the proverbial delete. Yes. Well, it seems
Yes.
as though there is enormous pressure on governments around the world, including the United Kingdom, to invest billions of pounds to move the United Kingdom to fighting readiness. Now, this is in the quest to create a new era of threats from nuclear powers such as Russia and China, and also cyber attacks. Mr. Pete, I ask you, we're now living in a different world, and cybersecurity, as well as the cyber soldier, could become the thing of the future. What say you about this subject?
Yes, well, I think it's interesting how, if you look back at history, how the science of war, or I suppose you might call it the engineering of war, has changed over the years, and it changes the whole way that people conduct themselves. Nations certainly conduct themselves. Back in the day when the furthest you could reach was the length of a spear away, and battles were conducted at close quarters. You could go around and not have a standing army, go around and get people together, give them a spear or a pitchfork if you didn't have enough, and get them to charge at each other. But as soon as things get more sophisticated, bows and arrows, cannons, and now remote controlled drones, you get further and further back the place of battle. So different people, different skills, different people literally, because they would have to have a different skill set, are needed to be soldiers. But you still need always need the people for the one-to-one fighting, hand-to-hand fighting, going into cities, for example. You still need people to go in there and clear them out. You're always going to need actual soldiers. But it is I think true to say that that the investment that's needed, the big investments that are needed, is to keep up at the cyber or the IT level, because that's where the new technology is, and the ones with the most successful technology, the armies with the most successful technology, are the ones that wins, the one that have the best bow and arrows. Remember Agincourt, the ones with the best nuclear weapons, the ones nowadays with the best AI controlled infantry and drones. Those are the ones that are going to win. And interestingly, so I said earlier, we have a Bible verse. It's interesting. This isn't a real prophecy, but it's interesting the way it's worded in the Bible. Right? Psalm 144 verse 1 talks about this. People often say that, mistakenly, I believe, that you have to be completely pacifist to be a Christian. That isn't the view I take. You should want peace, but that, of course, means that you conduct defensive wars, or wars in protection of another country, like Britain what it did during the Second World War because of the attack on Poland. So those are expected, because if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be acting morally, because you wouldn't be defending people who you were responsible for. But anyway, Psalm 144 verse 1 talks about war in this way, praising God for the ability to conduct it. It says, "Praise be to the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle." I don't know whether in the psalmist's mind there was a laptop keyboard or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Fingers for battle, but
the prophecy was there.
that's my jokey bit of it. But applying that verse seriously, of course, it needs to be part of a Christian country like Britain's overall strategy that we have for growth and security of the country, that we have the strongest army that we can possibly have, that can conduct its operations in liaison with our allies. So we've got to keep up with them in terms of the technology, and we need the technology in order to compete with our putative enemies. So, it's right that we do this, that we increase our spending on cyber soldiers, we might call them.
Yes.
But the question is, I suppose, how much can we afford?
Well, this is the point, because one of the recommendations is to boost our cybersecurity capability, billions effectively, to be able to improve the weapon systems. Effectively, what they're looking to do is to establish a cyber and electromagnetic command center to lead defensive attacks as well as also offensive opportunities where possible, to be able to have an electromagnetic warfare. So the point behind that is you can jam a signal from a drone or a missile or a rocket or something like that. Now, that's only one part, but I think the one thing that has been pointed out is you still need people. You still need to invest in an army. Now, the army may be in traditional frontline services, but even then, you still need to have Air Force cadets, and you also need Navy, and you also need people to be able to actually design these cyber systems and also operate them. And so this is going to cost a lot of money. And to the point, the United Kingdom spends around 2.3% of its GDP on defense. But the suggestion is that it needs to ramp up to 5%. Now, how on earth is that going to happen? Something's got to give. I'm not entirely sure what that would be. It can't be our health service, because the Labour Party has said it's going to invest even more on that. And so, yeah, I mean, something's got to give here. Something doesn't quite add up, does it?
Something doesn't quite add up. So there's two things that we on Market Beat are always talking about. One is you need to cut regulations on business so that business can thrive and grow. You need to give tax cuts especially to new business setups, so that businesses can thrive and grow and start new businesses, and people will want to come and grow in this country and grow their businesses in this country. Why am I saying that? Well, we need more money. It's the private sector, it's businesses that actually increase the wealth of the country. That's where the wealth comes from. And so it's by making things and extracting things, of course, raw materials. But it's that sort of thing that you need. We need more money because we need to be able to have a strong army so that there will be peace. I agree with it. It's just that all the policy around it just isn't there. It's been forgotten, and suddenly, because Donald Trump points it out to them, whoops! Oh, we haven't been spending. Sorry. No, it should have been done the whole time. It should be part of our budgeting. But as it not being the case, you've got to have a strong strategy for growth, which means stop. We've said this in other episodes, so I won't go on about it too much, Mark. You'll be pleased to hear, but stop the green agenda. Start using fossil fuels. Scrap this idea of having all electric vehicles and all that stuff. Stop it. Take this seriously. We can't go after these luxury beliefs and trying to assuage the trendy set down in Islington. We've got to take things seriously. We need more money to be able to defend our country.
Well,
let's get on with producing more wealth. That's what I say.
Well, a lot of people even in government have said we need to create a British army which is 10 times more lethal. Well, at the moment, I think we're looking a little bit more 10 times more limp.
Well, yes. I mean, and that's another. I mean, this will be the final point I make of this. Yes, a big problem, aside from everything else we said, it has been recruitment. And that's not about putting more money in. Recruitment for people, especially the actual soldiers that I was talking about. Which includes your cyber soldiers. You want people who can be highly skilled, who know what they're going to be doing is defending the country, which includes killing the enemy. You don't want to be talking about how diverse your army is. That's not what's going to draw people in. You need to give the impression that what you're talking about, especially when you're talking about hand-to-hand combat, sending people on the ground, especially that side of it, but in all parts of working in the army, what are they working towards? Being a lethal force to protect the homeland and kill the enemy. If you had that as being at the center of your recruitment drives, suddenly it would increase, tenfold, 20. How do I know that? because they've just done that in the United States of America.
There you go.
They changed the way that it ran, and they emphasised awesome people come and join the army, and we make them lethal. And suddenly the people are falling over themselves to get in.
Well,
that's what we need to do in this country, and that costs nothing.
Well, there you go, Mr. Starmer, Keir Starmer. You've got one extra recruit, Mr. Pete. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Make me lethal. But yeah, if you have any views, gentle listener, you know what to do. We've said this before. If you're listening on x.com, formerly known as Twitter, just leave a comment there, and we'll be sure to include your comment, assuming it's as bigoted and unjustifiable as the rest of our content. We'll include it in a future show. And the other way is simply go to markandpete.com. Make sure you're subscribed. Then you can leave a comment on this and in fact on every episode. We look forward to hearing from you. But from Mark and myself, that's it for this week. Catch you next time.